Carlos Nelson with Cascade Media Group, and we're on our What's Up Kansas City business channel. And we have entrepreneur that I've known uh, for some time on our other network, Cascade Sports. And matter of fact, let me say to the audience, you see Mr. Nelson all the time with the Cascade logo. This is the man that created the logo. And in '08, when I started Cascade Sports, he gave me 12 hoodies. He didn't even know me with our logos and everything. I was looking to get some financial help, and Chris was there for us. He has the T-shirt king, and he's not only the king of T-shirts. Uh, they have a multiplicity of products at their place, and I got to give his wife a shout out. She is working very hard in the travel industry. I see that Chris, you over in Saudi Arabia, you and the family see the different pictures. Uh, Before I let him go, I want to pay homage to his dad. I knew his dad. His dad served on the Kansas City School District, and not just as a board member. Mr. Nelson, does everybody knows I don't eat no cheese, and he was a good man, and he was for the community.
Thank
And
you.
I want to let you know that he's sorely missed. And so, without further ado, this is Mr. Chris Evans of T-Shirt King. Chris, as I always do with all my guests, go back to kindergarten, tell the people who you are, where you were raised, where you went to school, and how you got into your business. Floor is
Right
yours.
on, right on. Thanks for the introduction and thanks for the shout out to my wife and my dad. I thoroughly appreciate that. Family is definitely everything. So I was raised in the south side of Kansas City, graduated from Hickman Mills High School. From there, I went on to Morehouse College and got a degree in finance. Worked in management consulting for some time, and then went to University of Michigan Business School in Ann Arbor, Michigan. While I was at Michigan, I contemplated going to Wall Street very heavily. In fact, um, in 2000, spring of 2003, I went to New York for an interview during my spring break during business school, and I flew back to Kansas City. And it was during that time my dad said, "Well, why don't you come down to the shop and hang with me for a little bit?" So I went down there. Um, during spring break for that 3 or 4 days. And I was fascinated. I always had an entrepreneurial background and thought that, one day I would work for myself. I just didn't know it would be so soon. So I took that summer when I was in business school and turned down the opportunity to go to Wall Street and came to Kansas City and quote unquote intern with my dad at T-Shirt King on 12th Street. And then the rest is history. I fell in love with it, fell in love with the people, the community, the ways of touching the community, the interaction, and spent my second year of business school kind of making the business plan or the case of how I was going to grow the business. So that's how I got back to Kansas City and started with T-Shirt King, and that was in 2004. So it's been 21 years that I've been rolling with the family business.
So when I met you, you had been at the helm just for 4 years. What made you take the gamble on Cascade Sports?
Because at the time, in all honesty, uh, I enjoyed making videos, and you were doing videos, and nobody else was really doing the video segment or doing video. YouTube was kind of a new thing. There was no TikTok. Facebook was relatively new, so nobody was really doing video, and I was fascinated by that. So that was that. It definitely wasn't you. It was the product.
Right. Hey, let me say this, Chris. Man, that is what is lost in our community. Foresight.
Right.
And uh foresight and to invest. I interviewed Congressman Cleaver yesterday,
Okay.
and this is a major thing in our community, especially with our black entrepreneurs that have a little something something. Are you willing to look at and invest in something that's going to be taking place in the future? And I didn't know that is why you gave me those hoodies. But
Right.
a lot of people couldn't even see this coming.
Mm-hmm. And it's
This
here.
digital uh, revolution. And now I want to go into the trials and tribulations as not only in this business where they have 1 million people making T-shirts and every other type of product. Uh, Talk about your first years. Take our audience through what it was like year by year to take your business from how your dad was doing business. He handed the baton off to you uh, to where you're at. Floor is
Right.
yours.
So when I started, we were essentially outside of doing a lot of business with the schools because my dad was in heavily involved in the education. We were pretty much a retail business, meaning individuals would walk into the store and place orders. So one of the growth aspects was getting more into the corporate and government side of business and working with some of the major corporations as well as government. And that took some learning because there's a different, and this goes for any business that works in the retail space and works with individuals. Um, to make that leap and start working with corporations, there's a different mindset in the way that you price things. There's a different mindset in the way that people pay for things. And so that there was a huge growth period. I remember we were for probably 2 or 3 years, I was putting in a bid with different casinos, trying to get business because they turn over a lot of promotional products, a lot of t-shirts. And I would always kind of recommend the higher end products, thinking this is a big corporation. They probably want the best of the best. In reality, casinos are some of the cheapest people in the world, and they want the absolute bare minimum product. So I was missing, I was kind of graphing and calculating and missing. Same thing with the city. When you bid on something for the city, if you lose, you can go back and do your research and find out what price they paid for things, because it's public information. But I realized that I was offering just my concept. It was a huge misconception. I thought a bigger company would want the best of the best, and in reality, they kind of wanted actually the worst, or
Can I cut
the
you
lowest
off
level.
just for a
Yep.
minute?
Yep.
So, uh, for future entrepreneurs, and have you done any consulting?
I haven't done any paid consulting.
Yeah, all right. Well, I know you did consulting with me. Like
Right.
you said, you had videos that you had made, and
Right.
you had them on your, and they were way ahead of its time for the average person to get the knowledge. I was asking for this reason. That lesson you learned, it took your life clock, it took resources to learn that because you have a preconceived notion how things supposed to be run, and the reality is the opposite.
Correct.
And I'm in media, and every time I get a chance to make that point to our community, which engages in media 24/7, that what you're seeing is an illusion. And when you use that knowledge and think you can enter into this entrepreneurial world, you be all on the wrong track. And it takes time to get the knowledge that you just was talking about. And when you give that knowledge to someone that doesn't have that, they usually don't use it or value it the way they should. That's my point. Would
No,
you
I,
agree?
I agree with that. I mean, to be an entrepreneur, you really have to constantly assess yourself. You got to constantly do a honest self-assessment. And somewhere along that lines, you have to decide what type of person you want to be and how that aligns with the market. I'm not saying, you shift with the wind and change with everybody. You want to, be true to yourself, but you got to realize there's pluses and minuses. And are you willing to deal with those consequences of who you identify yourself as? But you constantly evaluating, did I give a fair price? Did I do it in a timely manner? Is my customer service okay? Did I fold the shirts up nicely and put them in, or did I just throw them in the bag? You got to evaluate everything because everything matters, and you can't take it personal if you want to keep growing.
Say that again. What can't you do?
You can't take it personal, Carlos Nelson. You just got to keep going.
Yeah, I
I mean,
I understand. Uh,
right,
all the things that you're talking about, those are intrinsic things that I'm innate with. One of the things that I would give you credit, and I will even say admire uh, about you. Most of the businessmen that I know that are black and from low level to the highest level, their main thing is about making money, and that's all it is. And uh, I've always believed you can make money and serve your community, really serve your community, not all that what
right,
what's going on. And you taking on that baseball role with your company, because I do business with y'all. Every time I go in the office, your wife be trying to get you to do this business, and you working with these youth, and
right,
you could be making more money. You could
right.
be relaxing, and I have to acknowledge that, and our community acknowledges it. But in my this isn't Mr. Nelson, this is not Mr. Evans talking. They
Right.
don't acknowledge it in the way of financial support that really can help you create the type of things that you have already dumped your own personal money in. Uh, so let's keep it moving.
No,
Talk.
I just real quick, I appreciate that acknowledgement, and I say that the beauty of entrepreneurship is there's different levels. I would consider myself more of a lifestyle entrepreneur, meaning T-shirt King could be probably much bigger and have far more employees and revenue than it currently has. But I do feel it's important to balance my family, spending time with my family. My youngest son just went off to college, coaching them all through baseball and coaching those other kids through baseball and through life. I can choose what my balance is because I run the business. I can take off when I want to take off. And sometimes customers I know they get a little frustrated, but it's my life. You know what I mean? And we try and deliver quality products, but entrepreneurs, I mean, if you're successful or your business is successful, you can get so drawn in that that's all that you do. Hopefully, it's something that you love. But you can design what you want your life to look like,
Can
and you got
I
to
ask
figure
you
out a
this,
way to afford it.
Chris?
Yes.
Tell me, when did you find yourself like this? When did you really find yourself? What age were you when you found, boy, you music to my
I mean,
heart,
and,
man.
and it takes time. I mean, full disclosure, I was on the board of the Minority Supplier Council. So this was probably like I started working 2003, 2004 at T-Shirt King. Baseball started in 2011. So I say around 2012, I remember being in a board meeting at the corporate headquarters for J.E. Dunn Construction. And you got one of the owners of J.E. Dunn Construction, one of the brothers there. You got a high representative from Hallmark Cards, somebody from several banks in town. So you got a lot of corporate heavy hitters, representatives from Sprint. Um, and we were in the meeting, and the meeting was supposed to be, I don't know, from maybe 4 to 5 o'clock. It's about 5:45, and all I could think about was getting to T-ball practice, being with these 5 or 6 year olds. And we were just kind of, in my opinion, at the time, we were spinning our wheels about some nonsense. And I'm thinking, all these executives in the room, we should be able to make a decision. And so at that time, had a lot of things going on. You're a young entrepreneur, people pulling you in a lot of different directions. I had to prioritize, okay, it's going to be family, then it's going to be baseball. Well, family, then the t-shirts, then baseball, and then everything else, we're just going to have to work around. In that same meeting, several people came in late, left early because they had other commitments. And I felt like, why am I the one that's overcommitted to somebody else's dream or somebody else's vision? So setting that priority of, okay, it's family, t-shirts, baseball. Anything else? I mean, sure, we've been trying to do this interview 5 or 6 years. Anything else is gonna have to fit into that schedule. And so as an entrepreneur, setting a priority of what's most important and then moving past that is what works well
Yeah,
for
well,
me.
laying it out and doing it, it's like talking the talk versus walking the walk. Those are
Right.
two things, and that's the part I said I admire about you. See, it's uh, the same thing that you've demonstrated in your personal life is the same thing that pushes your business. It's about commitment. It's about consistency, and it's about staying true to your purpose.
Right. I mean, the type of entrepreneurship I do though, there's no difference between my personal life and my business life, in all honesty. And to me, that's the way. Like I have a lot of friends that are seasoned corporate executives and people. And I think it really comes out in my kids that we the same 24 hours out the day. And I understand there's a time and a place to be this way or that way. The beauty of entrepreneurship, one of the aspects, if you do it this way, is you can be yourself all day long. And
See,
it's not a rude way. It's just, that I do business the way I do life.
people misconstrue that because they're 99% of the people are in a constraint. They
Yeah,
sell their life clock to this pace roll, whoever they work with, and they say, this is what you do, this is what you wear, this is when you come. That's slavery. But
right,
the payoff, the little payoff, but they don't really understand the freedom.
right.
I'm 74. The freedom, I've been able to live that lifestyle all my life,
That's a
basically.
blessing. That's a blessing.
You know, because life is precious. And when you lose someone, that's when that's really close to you, you realize that it's no tomorrow.
Right,
Cascade Media Group, our slogan from the beginning. Cascade Media Group is the wave of the future. That
right.
wave is the internet, and the future is now, right now. And if you
Hmm.
don't do what you want to do now, you might not be here tomorrow. And so that means you need to live your life, not your friend's life, not your wife's life, not, and then try to make that, you've been able to make that work, Chris.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And
So,
it's definitely not easy. It's definitely not easy.
so
But you
now I
got to
want to
be
go
committed.
before we close out. I want to talk about uh them boys because they went to school with my grandsons,
Yes,
and
sir.
I I'm telling you, I don't like y'all because I was trying to get him to come do some stuff with Cascade. He
Right.
like, I got my own brand and I got my own. Let's talk about them and how they came up. Because we're talking about passing the baton, really.
Right.
Run that down to our audience.
I think a turning point in my kids' life and in our life and their entrepreneurial endeavors was when they were probably 8 and 10 years old. I think it was either Xbox or PlayStation changed from making the games two player to making them one player, which doesn't seem like a major thing, but we spent $400-500 on getting the game system for Christmas, and they were fighting over it. And I'm like, y'all got to make it work. Figure it out. Y'all brothers learn how to share. I mean, that's how we were raised. I got a brother. Figure it out. But then as I listened to them more, they said, well, now most of the games only one person can play at a time, and it didn't make sense to me. So they were fighting back and forth, and my wife was saying, well, you need to buy another game system. I was like, no, they need to learn how to share. And so it was a big deal for a couple of weeks in our house, and the grandparents gave in and bought the second game system. But then maybe a week after that, I saw and trying to figure out now y'all got two game systems, and now y'all not even playing, y'all just watching somebody else play. And I said to him, is it working? They said I got a connection error.
Now
Um,
we go ahead.
Okay, I said to him, either you can be a producer or you can be a consumer. Y'all watching these videos, you're just a consumer. These kids ain't doing nothing you can't do. So at that moment, they really started producing and started making their own videos, playing the video games, and then leading into little skits and things. But I think that really resonated with them, and they realized like I don't have to watch somebody else. I can do it myself, and people can watch me, and that has driven them. Both of them are now at Morehouse College, but they've been very successful on YouTube, very successful on social media. The older one, he's a junior. The other one, he just had his first day of school, college yesterday. But he's been very successful in college. He just was voted the number one HBCU host in the country, which is kind of a big deal from coming from a small college like Morehouse.
Hey, coming from a small town like KC, baby.
And coming from a small town like KC. So, just empowering your kids, letting them run with things. When they started doing videos, my wife couldn't believe that I let them use the expensive camera. But I believe in giving them real tools and real things. If they, want to make a business of something, they cut hair, they got real clippers. So
I
you
just
you have to
remember,
invest in them.
hey, Chris, I just remember I was on you about some orders or something, and they, you had them working that printing and stuff, and they was all puffy, but it was like, hey, y'all eating, y'all
Right.
working,
Yeah, no,
and
they got to understand the business at a young age, which is good. The blessing, I think, the gift and the curse is my kids have never seen me go to work for somebody else. They never, and I'm saying this as it relates to my mom. She was a director of human resources. She should have been a vice president, but they never made her a vice president. But hearing her come in complain about her job, her review, not getting a raise she expected, them expecting this and doing that, and all the politics she played at work. My kids have never felt that or heard that. They've always seen us go to work and make the decisions or not go to work and go on a trip or so I'm curious as to the impact that it's gonna have on them. My son had an internship
you
and
don't, you're not curious because they already doing it. I'm gonna close with this.
all right,
Uh, I remember Miguel Warren when I had the large construction company. He
right,
used to intern with me in the summer, and I would let him clean up the buildings. I renovated large projects, and 25 years later, I'm talking to him at a tournament. He said, "Mr. Nelson, before I seen you, I never seen a black man pay a white man."
wow,
I would have never believed. I'm saying it shows you what he was in high school.
right.
What
It's just
what image does.
mhm,
Second thing, I'm not going to mention who said this about 4 days ago because I'm real with our community and
right,
what's going on in our community. And a lot of the people in our community have positions, but they don't have that position. They're small people, first of all. And we were talking about that, and the person said, I've been around where I seen the white man tell this one, get in here right now, and blah, blah, different things like that, where people that we think are leaders,
right,
the life you and myself lead by we have more things in common. Nobody tell you what to do, how to do, when to do it. And that's not being arrogant. That
Right.
is being, you set your life and you understand that most of the people are in a matrix. You work within the matrix, but you don't subscribe to it.
Right.
And your kids are what we should be producing as a community, and but you cannot do that without guidance.
No,
What's your closing words?
that's you're 100% spot on. I got to give a shout out to Kansas City and to my kids. My kids were raised in the 64130 zip code. They went to Academy Lafayette. They graduated high school from Lincoln College Prep. So the KCPS students through and through. And so for us to think that we can't raise positive young kids in the inner city um, is false. Is absolutely false. We always hear about the crime and the stealing or whatever, but not only them, but a lot of their friends are at HBCUs and in college and doing great things. There's a lot of good, but we got to highlight that and pour into the youth and expose them to greater things. Expose them to greater
They
things.
only know what they know, and they only going to know what we teach them that is linked to family, community, and our history.
Right. We literally you got to get them. We got to get them off the cell phones and be live and in person and giving them a different perspective because they seeing the entire world on their phone, but they only seeing what's being fed to them. So we got to feed some positivity to them. We got to get off our phones and spend some real time with real people in person. So just in closing, it's been a blessing. This is 40 years for T-Shirt King. It's been a blessing to see the transformation of the city during that time. Um, you can only imagine how many schools, how many churches have come and gone in the time that we've been providing T-shirts. Even I even say some families. With family, we just did the shout out to the Wheeler White family reunion. I don't know how many reunions they've done, but I know we've done T-shirts for them since the '80s. So that's a very strong bloodline, a very strong family. So we've seen a lot. And in 40 years, it's a blessing to be around. It's a blessing that my kids are in college and, we took that leap of faith, bet on yourself every day. And now my kids are in college and thriving. So
One more last shout out.
thank
Since
Kansas
you're
City.
giving these shout outs, let's
Yes,
give
sir.
Mr. Gates the big shout out uh, for providing refuge for Black businesses, not just now, from the onset.
Oh yeah, I gotta give Mr. Gates a huge. Like I said, we've been there 40 years. Mortgage is usually 30 years, so I think we should.
Should own part
Yeah,
of it.
yeah, I think we might have paid for that 12th Street Shopping Center. I don't know.
But it
But
shows how we can work together. That's what we
yes,
need
yes, yes.
more of. The ones that have the resources, don't exclude us. Invite us in and help us get to where you are.
Right. No,
And,
the
and
gate,
I'm sure y'all could have been moved.
right. But the Gates family, you can't say enough about. We definitely don't give them their flowers enough. A lot of people will criticize the restaurant, but it's so much bigger than the restaurant. The fact that he owns pretty much from on 12th Street anyway, from Paseo all the way to Prospect, he has his hand and beyond in the city, just learning how to develop and create a community. That's a phenomenal thing. Like if you don't have it, he's created, he's built it, he's put his hands on it.
And
You
the
also
jobs that it creates.
the jobs he creates, that's a no-brainer. One thing that I really admire Mr. Gates for, um, he's got to be in his mid 90s.
Right.
The fact that he's been able to take such good care of his health and to be in a position to mentally and physically be able to wake up every day and still participate in business. To me, that's the hugest lesson and blessing. Because and not to take away from the restaurant, but you can't eat barbecue every day and live to be 90 something years old. So he's definitely been strategic in making sure his health is grade A1, his mind is grade A1, and um, that to me that's the recipe that we all need because it's a mix of doing what you love and making sure you physically able to continue to do what you love. I say get up and go to work because that's the way common folks relate to it. But to him, I'm sure it's a labor of love, and he
Well, to
wouldn't want to do
you,
anything else.
to me, I know people. I work 15 hours a day, but it's not work. It's like
Right.
I want to do this project, I want to do that, and I start doing it.
Yep. Yep. So I
So,
mean, and it's the same way for me. Like with baseball, literally at the peak, I would leave the house at 7:30, go work till 4:30, 5 o'clock, go to the baseball field till 9 o'clock, then go back to work until 12, 1 in the morning every day. So but it is people, Chris, how you work so hard, but I'm doing something I'm excited about.
and it's making a difference. I'm going to close out. Uh, Mr. James Watts, right?
Yes, sir, Uncle Jimmy.
When James be doing, he's co-founder of What's Up Kansas City. So
Okay.
when he does his interviews, he be closing out like this, Chris. It was a plum pleasing pleasure having you on the show, Mr. Evans.
Well,
But I'd
thank
be
you.
like, come on, Jim, cut all of that out, man. This is how we normally close. When you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.
Amen. Appreciate you.
This is brought to you by Kansas City Business Association, working to improve our community.